She's the track champion, forging a new path. The American girl with the Russian name.
Tatyana Mcfadden, representing Team USA in cross-country skiing.
The girl who had no future, now making history.
Do you think we should make a movie about you, because it just seems to be an incredible story?
A movie? Maybe one day.
One day.
When I'm not so busy.
It's the stuff of Hollywood, real triumph over adversity. 24 years ago, the prognosis was not good for baby Tatyana. Born with spina bifida, abandoned by her birth mother to a Russian orphanage, one can only wonder what would become of her had the fickle finger of fate not pointed her way.
I really believe in fate. I remember one day just one woman walked in, and I looked at her and I told everyone that was going to be my mom. And they thought I was crazy. I mean, 6-year-old, you know, what does she know? But that day absolutely changed my life, and it happened to be an American woman that walked in. That adoption was so important for me. And as soon as I came into America, I got involved with sports. It was extremely important for my health. I was very sick and very, very anemic, and the doctor said, you know, she probably has a few years to live. And my mom thought otherwise. And so in the local sports program, I tried every sport possible, but I really fell in love with wheelchair racing. I loved it so much that I wanted to represent the United States in the Paralympics. And so my first go was Athens, then Beijing, then London. And if I didn't do wheelchair racing, it wouldn't bring me to cross-country skiing.
Russia's loss, it seems, was America's gain. Just 24, Tatyana has already competed in 3 Paralympic Summer Games and won medals in each one, including 3 golds in London. She's mastered the track, but now she wants to conquer cross-country.
I do have a lot of confidence in myself, but it's also, I'm coming in as a new sport, and there's a lot to learn. There's so much technique to learn, and those things really matter, because it's the power that you give in, the power that you give out, and how much energy you have in the end.
And your nickname is the Beast. I mean, that must give you some confidence, though, going in and everyone thinking of you in that way.
I mean, in skiing, they say, they see how much power I have, and they keep telling me, just remember to use your power smartly and wisely. And so, I mean, that nickname, the Beast, still carries over into cross-country skiing, especially climbing hills.
It's her first Winter Paralympics, but not her first time back in Russia.
Have you been back to the orphanage that you grew up in St. Petersburg?
Yeah, I was back about 4 years ago. I went to go visit the orphanage and the orphanage director, and it was fulfillment for me. And the orphanage director, she said she never even had anyone come back, let alone a person with a disability come back. So for her, I think it brought hope and enlightenment to her and to the orphanage. Because, I mean, she does a great job.
You were only 6 when you left Russia. What memories do you have of this country, and do you still feel a connection?
When I went back 4 years ago, it was kind of funny how I do remember the smell of cabbage. I got out of the car and I was like, oh, like they're cooking cabbage, like I recognized it. But the orphanage is so small. Being a young girl and walking on my hands, I thought it was ginormous, but it's only a few floors, and the pool's really small and very brown. I couldn't even believe I swam in it. So everything I thought was so big, but in reality it was just so small.
How much of a connection do you feel to Russia as it is your birth country?
I mean, I live in America, and I'm an American, but I think having my culture is also really important, because it is who I am. I do identify with it, of course, but when I went back 4 years ago, they said, "You look so American." I said, "No, I don't." But I mean, my life is definitely in America, and but I mean, I was born in Russia, but having that culture for anyone is really important.
You feel there's a lot of drama to come before the credits roll on this blockbuster. The story began in Russia, but it won't end here. but perhaps there is an element of closure to this chapter.
Do you think these games are going to be extra special for you?
For me, it will be, not only because it's in Sochi, but because my adoptive family and my birth family will be here as well. So that will be something special to me.
She's a 12-time Paralympic champion, holds 13 world records, and was one of my fiercest rivals when I was a swimmer. But for Jessica Long, working at these Winter Games as a reporter means another chance to return to the place where she was born.
I was adopted when I was 13 months old. Both of my parents in Baltimore, they had 2 children, couldn't have any more, so they looked into adoption, and they adopted my brother and I from Russia, and then they ended up having 2 more. So I'm one of 6 kids, big family, but I was always curious, you know, I'm the only blonde in my family, and I really wanted to know what my mom looked like. And I found out about her when I was competing in London.
Oh.
And that was really stressful. I was like, come on, like, just couldn't this have waited? In a way, I was able to put it into my swimming, but it was still really challenging.
You clearly did well in swimming, and you still picked up 5 goals.
Thanks.
Certainly a big goal for Jess Long, 105.63 for her.
I came back and I got to go to the orphanage I was adopted from. I got to meet the woman who handed me over to my father when he came to Russia, and she was so excited to meet me and knew.
Did she remember you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she knew who I was, and she must have asked my dad what my new name will be, and he said Jessica.
So what was your old name?
Tatyana.
Okay.
So it's my middle name now. And for me, it was really healing because I realized the amount of love that my parents in Baltimore have for me. I was born with fibular hemimelia, so I was missing the lower parts of my legs, and I had a foot with 3 toes, and they ended up amputating that foot when I came to America. And you know, being amputee and always being determined, and you know, I always felt like I had to be tough growing up, like I couldn't show any weakness. I didn't realize that going to the orphanage was going to have that much of a positive effect. And then the next part of our journey was going to meet my family. Yeah. It was such a special moment, just, you know, this is my mom. There was this one moment when I hugged her, and I just felt all of this weight that I had been holding on to just lifted, and I was just like, this is my mom. She didn't want to let go of my hand. So at one point I'm like trying to take off my prosthetic with one hand and holding her hand. I was like, I'm gonna need to like let go of your grip. But they just basically kind of had said, you know, we couldn't have given you all of this.
3 months later, you're obviously back here in Russia. You're just doing media as something on the side?
Yeah, I definitely am still swimming. Rio is my goal. I couldn't pass up this opportunity. You know, it's a great learning experience. It's so exciting. You know, I know a lot of the winter Paralympic athletes.
What about Tatyana Mcfadden? Because obviously she competed at Summers, and now she's here doing winter stuff. And her story is so much like yours.
When I was dealing with all of the Russia stuff, she was one of the first people to reach out and just kind of be like, I know what it's like. If you need anything, I'm here for you, which is really sweet. But she's a great athlete, and that's awesome what she's been able to do.
Do you think you'll try any winter sports out like her?
I'm sticking with swimming. I love swimming.
It is the best sport,
it's my sport, yeah. You know what it's like. But yeah, for now, I'm sticking with swimming. I think this is exactly what I needed leading into Rio, just to, you know, remotivate me and
give you an extra oomph.
Yeah, you know, and I've definitely been training and swimming here, and it reminds me why I started swimming, you know, because I love the sport, and I loved feeling like a mermaid when I was little, and I love everything about it. So it couldn't have been any better, getting the opportunity to come here, and, you know, now on the road to Rio.